several years, and each time it gets a little different. The names change, the accomplishments change just a little bit because we're always dealing with elite athletes, and in some cases, like tonight, some are better known to you individuals as they are to me, but we're going to meet all of them. And we're going to begin first by saying that this class is represented by 7 different athletic programs here at Temple. It includes All-Americans, national champions, and one of the longest tenured administrators in Temple athletics. She dealt with football. She wasn't on the field for one snap. That's going to be my only clue as to who that person was. But she's been there, it seems like, forever. To begin the evening tonight, I would like to introduce to you a gentleman, speaking of tenures at Temple University. I stopped counting after a while because his tenure is decades, not individual years. My pleasure to bring up and welcome you tonight to this very special ceremony at Temple University, the interim president of Temple University, Richard Englert. And I should say, Dick, unfortunately, we meet under these circumstances, losing a real strong proponent recently of Temple athletics for years, Joanne Epps. Maybe we should observe a moment of silence in her memory. I can honestly say nobody appreciated Temple athletes and what they meant to this university than Joanne.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And on behalf of the entire university family, and truly we are a family, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. And I want to thank all of you for everything you do for Temple University, Temple Athletics, and everything else at Temple University. We are so, so grateful to all of you. Let me begin with a word about our beloved president, Joanne Epps. I first worked closely with Joanne when she was the faculty athletics representative. I was the acting AD at that time. What impressed me was her deep, deep love for our student athletes and her high regard for not just student athletes, but for our athletics programs entirely. She was one of the strongest supporters of Temple athletics. Later, she and I had basketball tickets in the new Lacrosse Center then, 1997, I think it was, and we were sitting next to each other for our season tickets. So we got to know each other very, very well. And let me tell you, she was an avid, avid fan, jumping up and down, cheering, yelling, getting angry when calls didn't go the right way. We're all going to miss her. We're going to miss her very, very much, without a doubt, in so many ways at the university, but especially we're going to miss her cheering at athletics events. So a very special friend to me, a very special colleague. We're going to mourn her for quite a while, but her legacy is amazing, absolutely amazing. Let me take a second and congratulate all of our awardees tonight. You truly have brought fame to Temple University, and we are so appreciative to you, and you deserve every accolade. Let me especially give a shout out to Nadia. Nadia, I know from firsthand experience that you are one of the most essential administrators at this university, and you have been so for so long. You're one of the people most responsible for holding things together at this great university. So Nadia, thank you for all you do and continue to do, and all you will continue to do. Yeah. And to everyone here tonight, another thank you for your support for Temple Athletics over the years. There's no doubt in my mind that we cannot be a great university unless we have great athletics programs. Simple. Athletics is the window through which so many people first learn about Temple University, through athletics. And every year, when a new class of students comes into Temple University, in my own mind, I register an assist to athletics for that incoming class. And I mean that very, very sincerely. I am in awe of the ways that Temple Athletics represents Temple University. Let me add that I'm so proud that our graduation success rate for our student athletes is 95%. And even as our student athletes, they enroll in scores of different majors. This is not a place where you come in and just go to one major that is specially tailored for student athletes. Our student athletes succeed in some of the toughest majors at Temple University, and I've been fortunate enough to have in my classes some student athletes, and they always excelled. And I'm a believer that you excel in the classroom, you excel in the field also, or in the competitions. So this is a true testament to the excellent work, not only of our student athletes, but also our coaches, our AD, our faculty, our our Resnick Support Center, our faculty, of course, our athletic staff, and our alumni, all of you who support Temple University. All of you are amazing. I love you all. So once again, I say thank you to everyone. Thank you for everything you are and everything you do for us. We can't be a great university without you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next, I'd like to introduce you, the gentleman who is at the top of the rank board when it comes to athletics here at Temple. He's the Vice President and Director of Athletics, now in his second year. I'm sure he feels very much at home in this building and every other building on this campus. It's my pleasure to bring up here for some remarks, Arthur Johnson. Arthur?
Thank you. Hey, good evening. I think it's been touched on the last time we were in this room as a staff with all of our coaches and staff. President Epps came in and addressed us and gave us an incredible reminder of her love and her interest in athletics, and reminded us that we got to continue to represent the university in the right way and follow the rules. But she, if people were wondering if we had support from the top, when she walked out of here that day, they knew that we had plenty of support. And as you just saw with our current acting president, Englert, and even before now, I knew that he had a great love for athletics, and that's a big part of it. So as we start to induct this 37th class, to all the honorees, congratulations to you and welcome back to campus. It's great to have you here. I want to acknowledge and give a special shout out to Larry Dockery. For many of you, you might not know, Larry retired at the end of August. But because of his love for our great institution and his love and wanting to make sure he finished what he started with the Hall of Fame classes, as well as our recognitions for our teams that returned a couple of weeks ago, he has remained part-time. So Larry, I want to say thank you, and I'd like for you to stand up so that we can recognize you. Now I want to thank and acknowledge the selection committee for their efforts in selecting this class. These decisions are not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of probably back and forth, pulling a group together, and a lot of people who made a lot of contributions throughout Temple athletics in different eras and different times. The committee has to come together and make some decisions. And so if you are on the committee, if you will stand and please be recognized. All committee members. All right, all coaches and staff, these moments are special for you as well. You're the wind beneath their wings. You do a lot of work that's behind the scenes. You bring our student athletes here, in the cases of the coaches. We have great support staff, not only in athletics, but all throughout campus, who support their goals and their dreams and their aspirations, and they play a large part in this. So for all of our coaches and staff who are here, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of our past coaches and staff, because you play a role in our young people achieving their dreams and their goals. And coaches and staff played roles in everyone who's back, whether they were here in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and of course, in the 2000s. So let's give them a hand as well. I was recently reminded of a quote: "Today's preparation determines tomorrow's achievement." This evening and this weekend, we are reminded of the investments and sacrifices everyone on this stage made, as well as their parents and coaches and friends and other family members to help them earn this incredible achievement. The class, as he mentioned before, includes 7 of our sports programs, spanning over 50 years, a national championship, 2-time Conference Player of the Year, golf, a 3-time All-American in men's gymnastics, 2 fencers, and a first-round pick in the NBA, to show you the well-roundedness of this incredible class. And then, as the President mentioned, for the 2nd year in a row, we have one of the longest and most tenured and respected administrators in Miss Nadia. And he is right, she holds things down, and she does a great job for us. She is always there. She always has a great smile on her face. She's always trying to help us achieve what we're trying to achieve. So I want to say congratulations to all of you. You represent what's great about Temple athletics. And I want to say, give a special thank you to all of your teammates, your coaches and staff, and to the family members and friends who are here who supported them along the way. And to all of you, thank you. Thank you for being here, giving of your time, and being a part of this special occasion. And to all of you, enjoy this special weekend. Welcome back, and go Owls.
Thank you, Arthur. And now let's meet our 8 inductees to the 2023 Hall of Fame class at Temple University. Our first inductee comes from the sport of golf. Walter Brown had a stellar 4-year career. He was the first Temple Owl golfer to compete in 4 NCAA tournaments. He was a 2-time All-American. He won the individual Mid-Atlantic Conference Championship in his freshman year of 1973. He shot a course record 63 to lead the Owls to the Yale Invitational Championship. And the Owls also were invited to the NCAA tournament and appeared in the championship that season. As a junior in '75, Walter helped Temple to 4 team titles. He won 2 individual championships, capped his career by leading Temple to titles that season. For his career, Temple won a still-standing record of 12 team titles over the course of 4 years. It hasn't been done since. The record for that Temple team in match play over the course of those 4 years, an astounding 46-2. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome one of the newer members of the Temple Hall of Fame from golf, Walter Brown.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. You sure I did all those things? That was a long time ago, but thank you. Thank you. It's interesting that 50 years ago I came to Temple, and this is also familiar, the going first. Coach just reminded me that he put me off first most of the time so I could at least hit the ball in the fairway the first hole and take the pressure off the rest of the team. So hopefully I'm taking the pressure off the rest of this team. So I'm right back where I started. Anyway, it's great to be here and see my family, friends, and guests and share in this honor. I would express my profound gratitude for this incredible honor of being inducted into the Temple University Athletic Hall of Fame. This moment, like I've mentioned on TV and then the interview with Larry, is very humbling and overwhelming, and I'm deeply grateful for the recognition. To the selection committee, thank you for your acknowledgement of my achievements as an athlete and for considering me worthy of this most prestigious honor. It is a privilege to be amongst other recipients and part of Temple University's sports legacy. As mentioned, 51 years ago, when I first met Coach McDonald, who's here, by the way, at a hotel in Boston, for me it was very, very exciting. A young blue-collar kid getting a scholarship to college. But for him, it was not so much. I had recently completed my last hand surgery on third-degree burns that I suffered as I suffered in an accident when I was 18 months old. Both my hands were bandaged, and Coach, I'm pretty sure, was looking for an early flight back to Philadelphia. Heck, I was his first recruit, and by this appearance, I looked to be damaged goods at best. After some explanation by myself and my dad, who was with me because I couldn't drive, he calmed down and somehow got the words out that he would offer me a scholarship. This may have been the first elbow shake known to man, but I happily accepted and started my Temple career that fall at Ambler campus. For me, as mentioned, I had the privilege of representing Temple University as a member of the golf team for 4 years, and additionally as an All-American golfer. The memories are etched in my heart in the lessons learned on the fairways and classrooms. Yes, classrooms. I know the administrator knows about those. Have shaped me both as an athlete, as an individual. My identity actually, like Mr. Johnson mentioned, was formed through my golf achievements, and it gave me a sense of purpose for the days past college and even today. My success at Temple career was made possible by the support from Coach McDonald, my teammates, and the entire Temple community. I couldn't have done it without them. My freshman year saw me win our conference championship, like mentioned, but we lost the team's championship by a stroke. I want to make it clear that it's 4 scores, 2 rounds. We lost like 610 to 611. This is quite an achievement even to come in second. I felt that this enabled Coach to know that the team was going to be then good. The future of Temple golf at that moment was forever changed. It allowed Coach to recruit better, guys actually with hands, and made them better, which made us all better. Then our team winning the conference championship my last 3 years, again as mentioned, is a testament to the dedication, hard work, perseverance that we collectively poured into our pursuit of excellence. Crazy enough, but having 3 additional members of the teams in the Athletic Hall of Fame here certainly helped raise the bar for our teams. You can imagine that even trying to win $1 in Nassau in a practice round was no easy task. I will hold most of the memories dear except the ones in the 13-hour bus rides that we had. Coach was able to commandeer a yellow school bus that took us to North Carolina every year. It was a long drive. But I would be remiss if I did not express my sincere gratitude to my coach, who believed in my potential. He stood by me through thick and thin, which he did mention again out there. His consistent guidance, support, and unwavering belief in my abilities have been invaluable. It was no small task, but testament to our team's success. It proved true that we could do it. To my teammates, you are the source of my inspiration and the reason to practice in freezing cold Philly temperatures and to live with the belief that the will to win can overcome the fear of failure. This is the tough one, right? To my mother and father, who really made this all possible. Thank you for your encouragement, sacrifices throughout my athletic journey. I know it wasn't easy. Unfortunately, their time here did not afford them the confirmation that their sacrifices were recognized, but hello, they were. To my grandchildren, children, friends, and loved ones, thank you for sharing this special recognition. It means the world to me. Although you have mostly only read about and heard about my accomplishments, I do recognize the sacrifices you all made later in my life, not only to support my golf, but my sometimes overbearing competitiveness and winning attitude. It is greatly appreciated. I share this honor with each and every one of you. Lastly, I would express my admiration and respect to the other exceptional athletes who are being inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight as well. I accept this prestigious accolade. I do so with deep humility and a renewed sense of gratitude for Temple University. It has been an integral part of my life, shaping me not only as an athlete, but as a person of character. It is a privilege to be ever associated with this remarkable institution, its rich sporting heritage. Thank you once again for this incredible honor. I will cherish this moment the rest of my life. Don't go home without it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't leave home without it.
Get the hardware. Next, we go to baseball. This gentleman, one of the best baseball players in Temple's history. Earl Chew was one of the Owls' top performers in what is probably remembered as the best era for the sport here at Temple. Three-time Middle-Atlantic Conference All-League selection. Chew was named the conference's most valuable player in 1972. That's when he led the Owls to a third-place finish at the College Baseball World Series. One of the program's top offensive players, the Temple outfielder led the Owls in home runs in 72 and 73, and in RBIs in that 72 season. He was the team captain in 73. He ended his career fourth all-time in the program's history in steals with 55. He was a third-round selection in the 1973 Major League Baseball draft by the Chicago Cubs, and he played 4 years in the organization's minor league system. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm round of applause from baseball and a new Hall of Famer, Earl Chew.
It's kind of tight getting out of there. I enrolled in Temple in 1969 and graduated in 1973. Now, I'm here for baseball, but that was not my favorite sport. I played basketball and baseball in high school. I was 6'4", played both forward and guard in high school. Loved it. It was energetic, it was fast, but when I got to Temple, I found I didn't have the skills. I was a little bit too short to be a forward, and I was too slow to be a guard. The old saying comes down the pike, white man can't jump. That was me. Honestly, those guys jumping over me like you can't believe. My junior year at Temple, I was told that my services for basketball were no longer needed. And I knew that was coming, but I didn't expect it that then. Anyway, I played two sports at the time, basketball and baseball, and it was tough with the school coursework and all that kind of stuff, but I did it. And when they told me, I was relieved because I could concentrate on one sport and rely on being able to study. I needed that really bad. Now, sports are supposed to be fun. If they're fun, then you enjoy them and you can perform. My teammates made the game even better. They had the same desire and attitude that I did, and that was to win. This all came together in 1972 when we went to the College World Series in Omaha and came in third in the country. In addition to our team playing great, we had a great coach, Skip Wilson. He was the best coach I ever had. He coached me my freshman year in basketball here at Temple and 3 years in baseball. It was great. He had a strict level of coaching. If you didn't perform, then he let you know it. He let me know it a number of times, and the guys in here already can back that up because they can say the same thing. He set me straight. His goal was to teach us to perform and to play as a team. Skip passed away last year, and he's extremely missed. We had a team reunion last year. We celebrated going to the College World Series after 50 years. That was the first time I had seen most of my teammates in those 50 years. And I didn't recognize some of them. You know why? I was 72. I forgot what some of these guys looked like, their names and all that. Anyway, I was embarrassed as heck, but I got over it. It was great to see them and to be around them. All right, to sum this up, I want to thank Temple University for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I also want to thank all of my teammates from all three teams, 1971 through 1973. There's 4 of them here tonight. Thank you for your support and positive attitudes. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. I am honored to be inducted, and it was an honor to be your teammate. Thank you.
Thank you, Earl. Our next inductee comes from men's basketball. He has the distinction of having been one of 8 Temple basketball players selected in the first round of the NBA draft. He was selected by the Knicks, and he was the 26th pick in the first round that year. Marty Collins was also, when it comes to distinctions, one of the last in a long line of great players here at Temple to have been recruited and to played for Hall of Fame coach John Chaney. And speaking of distinctions, personally, I had the pleasure of describing on the radio every game in which Marty played. And he started all but one game in his 4 years here at Temple. That's a distinction. But I'll explain, or let him explain, why he didn't start that one game. He played, but, well, it's a good story. Let's put it that way. Marty came within, less than 100 points of becoming the 3rd player in Temple history to have scored over 2,000 points. Mark Macon did it, Lynn Greer did it, and Marty scored 1,919 points. Today it ranks 5th in school history, while ranking 2nd in program history in steals in his career, 290, and field goals, 718. Yeah, Marty Collins did it all. Marty was a 3-time All-Philadelphia Big Five honoree. He was a first-team Atlantic 10 selection, and he also earned Atlantic 10 Conference All-Defensive Team accolades twice in his career at Temple. He ranked also among the top 10 in the nation in total steals. Marty will go down to play 4 seasons in the NBA before a 9-year career overseas. He earned first-team All-Euro Cup in 2016 and 2017. That's not that long ago. But tonight he's with us, and tonight he goes in to the Temple Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome to that Hall of Fame, Marty Collins.
You guys quit all that? Because for some reason I can't convince my sons I was any good at basketball. So I hope you guys quit all that. But just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to enjoy this honor with me. Want to thank Larry Doc, and it's my guy right there. And want to thank the rest of the I didn't see you, Chris. And thank the rest of my the Hall of Fame selection committee. For recognizing my contributions to the program. Really, really thankful and really blessed. Because anybody know my story, like, this wasn't supposed to happen. I'm a kid who comes from Philadelphia, low-income housing, single mom. I didn't play basketball, high school basketball my freshman year or sophomore year. barely played my junior year. So I pretty much only played 1 year of high school basketball. I wasn't highly ranked. I wasn't recruited highly. So for me to be able to get to Temple and accomplish this was amazing. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was January 26, 2008. And it was a kid just who loved to play the game and just worked hard and happened to get a little bit of luck. We happened to have a game at McGonigal Hall over there, and Coach Chaney happened to be coming back from a game at NC State. And he came here and watching another player, and I just happened to have one of the greatest games I ever played in my life. And the crazy thing about that story was I wasn't playing to get recruited that night. It was the first time my mom came to see me play in high school. She was busy. She lived on all across town. I lived with my older sister at the time, and it was one of the first times she seen me play. So I really was just trying to put on a show for her and make her proud. You know, so that's the crazy thing about that story. And then after that, Coach Chaney kind of took a liking to me, and he wanted me to come to Temple. But the catch was he didn't have any more scholarships. So in order for me to come to Temple, I was going to be a walk-on. So I honestly could be the first walk-on in Temple history to make the Hall of Fame. You know, so. So with that, I just wanted to thank a few people. I want to thank my mom. First off, you know, she was the first one. Most times it's guys' fathers who put the ball in their hands and buying their hoops, but she was the one every year, every Christmas, buying me my basketball hoop, along with a wrestling ring. I thought I was going to be a pro wrestler first. She bought my first hoops every year, and I mean, every morning I'm out there shooting on it to the point where she used to get in altercations with my neighbors because they was tired of me dribbling that basketball every morning and every night. So she was the reason I really picked up the basketball. And then I want to, thank my sisters, my older sister Ramika, my little big sister Diamond, and my young sister Chantel. And my niece as well, my oldest niece. They always been my biggest support system. Like I don't care what I could do. The worst thing, even though I didn't, but I could do the worst things in the world, and they always gonna have my back. Like they're my biggest supporters throughout my life, and I wouldn't be anywhere without those people. Raised by all women, and they were all strong women, and they raised me to be a strong man. Next, I want to drink Mr. L, my first high school coach at Simon Gratz. He was the first guy that gave me opportunity to play, and he instilled, first thing I learned from him was just he instilled a lot of discipline in me. He was a hard-nosed coach, military man, and we had to work hard, and that's when I first learned about work ethic. I remember mornings, the fall cold mornings where we were running from North Philly to West Philly because we had to run cross country. So he was the first person to instill some discipline in me, and that helped me propel to being a better athlete and potentially getting a scholarship, eventually getting a scholarship to Temple. Next, I want to, of course, thank, no longer with us, but John Arnett and my AAU coach, John Arnett, and Coach Chaney, because more than coaches, they were like father figures for me. I didn't have my father growing up, and when those two guys came in my life, not only did they teach me a lot about basketball, they taught me about being a man, and a lot of the things they taught me about the game and about life, I try to carry on and instill those things in my sons. So, I'm just happy that I was able to be in their presence and be around those two guys because they were like fathers to me and they taught me a lot. Lastly, I just want to talk to my sons. I'm glad you guys get to experience and see this. I know half the time y'all don't believe anything I say about basketball. But after the night, maybe y'all start listening a little more. Maybe. But I just want you guys to know that, dreams do come true. You guys are in the same seats I was in 20 plus years ago. Y'all playing high school basketball, y'all trying to get recruited. And I know sometimes it's tough because you guys feel like you're getting undervalued and you're not getting the recognition and attention you want. But I want you guys to know, just keep working. Keep working, keep believing in yourselves, and eventually you'll see that the dream will come true. So I want you guys to continue to work and continue to let that college name live on and as a good legacy. Thank you.
Thanks, Marty. Marty, I'm surprised you didn't thank Chris Paul, too, because Marty, about 200 feet from right here, played Wake Forest. Was that your junior year, I think? Yeah, junior year. And what was Chris? He a junior, too? Sophomore. And it was a close game. Unfortunately, the Owls lost, I think, by 3. And you boys ought to thank Chris Paul. I'm sure you've heard the story. Your dad took him into the well, scored 25 points, made Chris Paul look very mortal that night, made your father a first-round draft pick. So I'll never forget that. That's my favorite Marty Collins night, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Our next inductee is being honored posthumously tonight. Jeffrey Ham was one of the top men's fencers in a great Temple history of fencing. He was also a true American hero. Jeffrey was a 4-year letter winner on the fencing team. He capped his career here at Temple with a third-place finish at the NCAA championship to earn All-American honors. He also was a 4-year member of the ROTC rifle team at Temple, and as a student athlete, led the Owls to the 1965 Middle Atlantic Conference Championship. As a senior, he helped the team to be a runner-up the year before. In his ROTC program, he would befriend a freshman by the name of Wesley Craig, who himself would later become a major general for the United States Army. Unfortunately, Jeffrey Ham would never live to see that day, as he would serve in the Vietnam War and as a first lieutenant was killed in action on June 28, 1967. So we honor him tonight posthumously, and here to accept and maybe tell us a little bit about Jeffrey Ham is his teammate here at Temple, retired Major General and Temple alum, Wesley Craig. Wesley?
Thank you very much. I'm really deeply honored this evening to accept this award on behalf of Jeff Ham. I first met him in September of 1964 when I, as a brand new freshman on campus, fell in with my first formation of the Temple ROTC cadets when our company commander was none other than Cadet Captain Jeff Ham. For a young, impressionable 18-year-old, he was immediately impressive. He had outstanding military bearing, looked every bit the excellent soldier and leader he was. We found he was well-trained, articulate, physically fit, and confident, giving all of us gawky freshmen clear direction. He always told us what we were doing and why we had to do it, which really it's a secret of leadership. It allows then the subordinates to buy into the program, what the leader is telling them to do. He led us through drill and ceremonies and leadership laboratories for my entire freshman year. All the cadets in the company, there are about 75 of us, liked and respected him. He was no nonsense, but he was extremely fair. He led by example. As we said, he marched in the ROTC drill team. He performed on the ROTC rifle team. He is a member of the Scabbard and Blade, which is a military honor society. Basically, to qualify for that, you have to be outstanding in both military and your regular educational work here at the school. He was humble. It took us months to realize that our cadet company commander was an All-American, because he never mentioned that to us, as well as we already knew he was the best cadet company commander in the entire battalion. Now, he and I traveled to Temple University, as many did back then. We were commuters, and he and I were on the used SEPTA rail system frequently. And occasionally, we'd be on the same train. Once he realized that I was one of his cadets, he would come over and talk with me, talked about the Army, talked about leadership, life in general. I learned much from Jeff. He was my first leadership mentor. His death in combat in Vietnam in 1967 was a tremendous loss to the Army, to the Brigade of Cadets here at Temple University, and I could tell you to the world in general. It was his example that got me started in the ROTC program and convinced me to stay through the program through its commissioning. As been mentioned, I ended up staying in the Army for 42 years, retiring to the rank of Major General. I've commanded at every level from platoon through division, and then at the joint level, commanding the Pennsylvania Army and Air National Guard as well. I would have never gotten started in my military service if it were not for Jeff. His leadership, his character, his personal example. Now, many people go through life wondering if they ever made a difference. Jeff certainly made a difference to me and to all of us in his cadet company and to his fellow members of the class of 1965. So today, I'm honored to accept this on behalf of Jeff, and we all remember Jeff Ham. I thank Temple University for recognizing his success in intercollegiate athletics, as well as the United States Army. And again, thank you very much.
So it's time to meet the aforementioned, one of the longest tenured administrators in Temple Athletics history, and that would be Nadia Batson-Harvin. Nadia, as a lot of these former football players recall, has been working with Temple Athletics since 1985 and currently serves as the executive assistant to the head football coach. The seventh, I believe it is, the seventh head coach that she has served. Nadia was a member of the Temple bowling team. I don't think they still have bowling here at Temple, but they did back then, huh? Oh, they still do. Okay, there you go. I learned something new tonight. She was an undergraduate in the 1981-82 bowling season and has touched many lives during her long tenure with football here on Broad Street, and has also been sort of a bridge for alums throughout coaching changes over the last 5 decades. And as you know, there have been several of those changes. During her amazing career, Nadia has been the assistant to, as I mentioned, 7 different coaches and has held varied roles within earlier football administrations. She's been around the block, and as Temple football coaches come and go, Nadia manages to stay, and Temple University is glad she does. Let's welcome tonight to the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen, Nadia Batson-Harvin.
Yes, you're not kidding. You taking this home? Woo-hoo. Sorry, got to put the glasses on. Well, okay, I was told 3 to 5 minutes. I'm not going to promise that, but I'll do the best I can. So I'd like to begin, I'd like to thank President Athletic Director Arthur Johnson and the Temple Athletics Hall of Fame Committee for this distinguished honor. I am truly honored and most certainly blessed to be alongside a doctor, All-Americans, and a national hero in this 2023 class of inductees. What a group we make, and congratulations to all my fellow inductees. I had chosen Temple, though considered a commuter school at the time, which some of my fellow inductees know, for a number of reasons. It had the majors I wanted, which was computer science, dance, and theater. And it also had a good sports teams, even back then. We had bowling, swimming, softball, football, basketball, and also it wasn't too far from home. But probably and most importantly, Temple also chose me by sending me an early acceptance letter, which, with my mother's blessing, I jumped at. So when my journey began in 1979, I probably, like some of our now current portable transfers, I came to Temple sight unseen. My first time on campus was my orientation weekend. And the first person I met at Hardwick Hall was Lee Roberts, who is one of our associate athletic directors. And he was at the time, I believe, an RD for that weekend's orientation. And he thought it was fun that, he could probably get on this little youngster. He found out otherwise. I gave back as good as he gave me when it came down to getting on each other. And we've been friends ever since. I must have been destined to be in athletics because I spent a lot of my time in Pearson McGonigal Hall and enjoying two of my pastimes, bowling and dancing. One of those times in the Temple bowling alley, while just practicing, I met a gentleman by the name of Mike Higgins, who introduced me to the then men's and women's bowling head coach, Jay Natanasio. She must have liked something she saw when I tried out because I made the bowling team and came close to going on a scholarship, but life intervened. But I did let her, so I do have a letter from my bowling days. Because of being in this McGonigal Pearson, I met a good friend. Her name is Glennis Harp, and Glennis is no longer with me, but she is. And she introduced me to some very wonderful ladies, and one of them who is here with me tonight. And through her and Beverly Tinsley, I was able to work in the basketball office. So I then learned how to be the position I am in and learn the lessons of recruiting, how to speak and dealing with parents, coaches, administrators, from our beloved John Chaney, Jim Maloney, and Jay Norman, who were the head coaches at the time. So I've got some history. And I learned the job and the importance of being an office manager from Mrs. Essie Davis, while being her student worker. I thank goodness for those lessons because life intervened and I needed a job. Along came Earl Cleghorn, who at the time was the associate AD and gave me a temp job working while his assistant Beverly was on maternity leave. Again, I was blessed because he must have liked something he saw, because the next thing I know, with his help and the help of some other lovely ladies by the name of Beverly Tinsley, Barbara Hawkins, Linda Gordon, and Sandra Rodville, who all had a part in me being able to come into the football office. I was even here, now I'm backtracking, back in 1979 for the Garden State Bowl. I was probably I am probably now one of the only ones who've been to just about every single bowl game except our very first one, going back to the Sugar Bowl. So I'm not that old. I started my foray into football with the help of Bruce Arians, who is the retired coach with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, along with Spencer Prescott, who is also no longer with us, and with Lee Roberts, when I helped out with recruiting as a student. I have been fortunate to have worked in some capacity, as was already mentioned, for every head coach since BA, and would like to thank Jerry Burt, Ron Dickerson Sr., Bobby Wallace, Al Golden, Steve Adazio, Matt Rule, Jeff Collins, Manny Diaz, about 14 days, Rod Carey, and now my current head coach, Stan Drayton, for all their support, encouragement, and their friendship. I am also blessed to have the support of my family. My mom, unfortunately, who's no longer here, and I know she would be highly proud of me being honored tonight. My brothers and sisters, Nick, Jamil, my sisters Tamara and Tamiko, my son, who actually grew up being in football, Ramesh, my daughter-in-law Liz, grandkids Ilana and Andrew, and a very very understanding husband, Alan Harvin, for all the years as I've always tried to be the best person I can be and to treat everyone the way I want them to treat me, or to treat my son. Because when asked if I have any children, I always reply yes. I have 121, and only one's biological. So, So with that, I would like Sheldon Morris, Joe Greenwood, Paul Palmer, Mike Hennett, Kevin Jones. I would also like Patrice Cohill and Miss Essie Davis to stand. And now along, I'd like the rest of my football family to stand. And yes, that includes you two ladies, Robin, Kia. I thank you, along with the 500-plus players, assistant coaches, support staffs, graduate assistants, and I thank you because you're the reason why I am at this podium tonight. I thank you for letting me into your lives and for showing me what it is to be Temple tough. Again, I thank you all for this tremendous honor, and I am Temple made and most certainly Temple proud. Go Owls.
Natty, I have just one question. Now, you introduced a lot of these guys from back in the 80s. So you had how many, over 500 players you've come in contact with?
I'm saying it's over 500.
Okay. Do you have any favorites? I want to put you on the spot.
No,
No, okay. Treat them all equally, right?
I do.
I know. Thank you, Nadia. All right, next we go to women's lacrosse to meet our next inductee. She was a member of maybe one of the greatest teams in Temple sports history. Barb Hick Cuesta was a key defender on the Owls' 1988 undefeated NCAA championship women's lacrosse team. Second team All-American, first team All-Defensive selection, spearheading a defense that posted a staggering 5.7 goals against average in compiling an undefeated record. I think over the last 2 seasons, women's lacrosse, Barb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, lost only 1 game, and that was against Penn State by 1 goal in the NCAA championship finals. 7-6. You probably remember it like it was yesterday.
Unfortunately, yes.
Wow, how about that? They could have won back-to-back championships. 87 they did, and damn those Nittany Lions in 88. But that's what sports is all about. In addition, she was also a 4-year member of the Temple field hockey team and selected to the U.S. women's lacrosse team in 1988. Still in athletics, she has served over 30 years as the senior women's administrator at St. Bonaventure University. Ladies and gentlemen, what a career she had. A national champion, an All-American, and tonight, a Temple Hall of Famer, Barb Hick Cuesta.
Thank you, Harry, for that very nice introduction. I'd like to thank Arthur Johnson, Larry Doherty, and the entire Hall of Fame committee for honoring me with this selection. A Hall of Fame really represents the best of the best, and I congratulate my classmates on their induction and their accomplishments as well. It truly is an honor to be inducted with you guys here tonight. To stand here this evening really is truly humbling. When I first walked on the campus 39 years ago, this fall, I was excited yet nervous as I didn't know if I really belonged here. The women's lacrosse team had just won their 2nd national championship in 3 years, and I came from a high school program that never won a game in 2 years. So to say I felt intimidated by my surroundings was an understatement. However, I quickly learned what it meant to be called Temple made, and my 4 years here left a lifetime impression on me. Though there are many individuals whose presence influenced me back then, a few stand out. My parents, who are no longer with us, were my biggest supporters, not only here at Temple, but in anything I did. Rarely did my mom miss a game, and my father captured so many of them on his cameras, pictures that memorialized all that my teammates and I were able to accomplish. But success doesn't happen by oneself, and I'm so thankful for the support and lasting friendship of the women I played with. I was surrounded by and played with some amazing teammates, many of whom already are in the Hall of Fame. Every day I practiced against All-Americans, future Hall of Famers, and national team members. Experiences that, while grueling some days, only made me a better player. I was also fortunate to have two remarkable coaches, women whose inspiration in my life was more than just the impact they had on the lacrosse field. To head coach Tina Sloan Green, Larry, is she here? To Tina Sloan Green, my head coach. Your quiet voice, while sometimes not heard clearly, and if you know Tina, you know she spoke very quietly and you could not hear her, was always there, pushing me to not only be a better player, but also become a strong woman. In the spring of '84, she accepted a phone call from an old college teammate, asking her to take a chance on a high school player from a not-so-good team, and she did. And by doing so, she changed the direction of my life. So thank you, Tina, for the opportunity to play for you and to become a Temple Owl. Excuse me. To Sue Stahl, my defensive coach, there are not enough words to thank you for all that you did for me. Excuse me. You were the voice in my head back then, and you remain the voice in my head to this day. Outside of my parents, Sue had the biggest influence on me. From the first time we met, and you probably don't remember this, your impact was felt right away. She came to watch a high school game of mine, one that we lost very badly because my team was very bad. But you told my mom and I that you didn't care what the score was. You wanted to see if I had potential. Was I coachable? And so you talked to Tina, and you guys offered me a scholarship. Your patience in developing me was unwavering. Your feedback, while sometimes a bit loud, was always supportive. You knew how to motivate me and how to push me to work harder. Your words of wisdom were present both on and off the field. And most importantly, Sue, you made me believe that I belonged here on North Broad Street. I would not have become the lacrosse player I did back then, nor the woman I am today, without you as my coach. So thank you for just being you. Because of these two coaches, I was blessed to be part of not only one of the best lacrosse teams ever, but one of the best Temple teams ever. I could not have written a better ending to my college career than with an undefeated season, an NCAA national championship, an All-American honor, and a selection to the U.S. national team. Even now, there are days when I look back on my years here at Temple and think, wow, did I really achieve all that? But the NCAA championship ring I wear on my finger confirms the reality of those long ago days. I've worked in college athletics for over 33 years as an administrator, helping coaches and student athletes achieve success both on and off the playing field. I believe in education through sport and all that athletics can teach us, not just how to catch a lacrosse ball or how to run faster, but it's about being part of a team that's bigger than oneself, putting aside your personal ego for the betterment of the team. It's about meeting lifelong friends, and it's about winning and losing, understanding how to handle success, but more importantly, failure, and how to rebound from that disappointment is so important. My time here at Temple taught me this, and I strive every day in the job I do now to help others have the same experience. I'm so grateful for the love and support of my family. My sisters Sue and Dan, you've always been there to cheer me on, especially that beautiful May day when we won the NCAA championship. And to my husband Joe and my son Michael, thank you for allowing sports to be such a big part of our lives, for putting up with my crazy work schedule and continuing together on this road trip called life. Because without you all, these accolades mean nothing. I learned a long time ago that you don't really appreciate the days of your youth until they are long gone, and the lessons learned and experiences gained are truly valued. Temple was my temporary home, a team now to cheer for, and memories to last a lifetime. I'm proud to be Temple made, and so honored to now be called a Hall of Famer. Thank you, and go Owls.
Thank you, Barb. One of the top men's gymnasts in the storied history of that Temple program, Michael Moran was a 3-time All-American and 6-time conference champion during his career here at Temple. Following an injury-plagued freshman year, Michael won conference titles in the vault rings, horizontal bar, and all around, leading the Owls to the conference championship. He would finish the team by earning All-American honors in the vault and the horizontal bars and all around. In his final 2 years, he won conference championship, once again on the rings, and qualified for the NCAA championship, but was unable to compete due to an injury. He also qualified for the national team in '98, competed at the Pan Am Games the following year. Ladies and gentlemen, from men's gymnastics, our next Hall of Famer tonight, let's welcome Michael Moran.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you. This is a great honor. And thanks to the nomination committee and all the people that helped put this great weekend together for us. It's been amazing so far, and I'm excited for tomorrow. It is nice to be back on Temple's campus and to be able to share this event with my parents, who are my biggest supporters and were always there for my gymnastics, and of course with my lovely wife, who's now my biggest supporter. I think it's probably been about 20 years since I've been back, but it seems like yesterday that I first walked into McGonigal and started training with the 10 men's team. It was just the most amazing part of my life. First, I'd like to thank the great coaches that I had along the way, Fred Turoff, Tom Gibbs, and Stuart McMahon. Unfortunately, Fred could not make it because he's at the World Championships like he has been for the last 28 years. I don't think he's missed a single one. So I forgive you, Fred. And unfortunately, Tom Gibbs, my assistant coach, couldn't make it this evening, but we're going to see him for breakfast tomorrow, so I'm very excited to rejoin my family. They were always there to encourage me and to help and guide me along my way and through my journey at Temple. And of course, I couldn't have had the success that I had without the support and guidance of my teammates. From the upperclassmen that taught me the Temple ways, to the freshmen and sophomore that I passed along those very traditions. And of course, as was mentioned, I'd have to, anyone that knows my gymnastics career would have to know that I have to thank the great medical staff here at Temple, because they put me back together again and again and again. But they always got me back on the field, so thank you. Thank you to everyone. It was truly an honor to be part of that team, and even more of an honor to call them my family today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Well, our final inductee comes from women's fencing. She was a 2-time recipient of Temple's Female Student Athlete of the Year Award. Dr. Kamali Thompson is the epitome of a student athlete. A 4-time NCAA championship qualifier, Kamali earned 3 top 15 finishes and also placed 6th in the saber in her senior season. A 4-time NIWFA individual saber title holder, she also finished in the top 10 at the NCAA regionals during all 4 years of her career here at Temple. The 2012 NCAA Woman of the Year nominee held the Temple saber record for individual career wins, 175, between the year of 2016 to 2020. Currently, she is a medical doctor at Temple University Hospital, the 2012 Philly-Sida Women's Academic All-Area Performer of the Year, won a gold medal at the U.S. Fencing North American Cup, and also placed 16th at the Junior World Cup in Germany during the 2010-11 season. She was, among other honors, an alternate for the 2020 USA Olympic team, and also served as the women's saber representative for the USOPC Medical Advisory Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just a brief history of our final inductee tonight. So let's maybe hear a little bit more from Dr. Kamali Thompson.
All right, So when I was fortunate enough to win Student Athlete of the Year twice, Coach Frank, you might remember this, I tripped up the stairs both times. So you guys have no idea how slowly I walked up those stairs before we got up here. Anyways, so there are several moments in my life that I often think about because they completely changed everything. The first moment was with my mom in 8th grade when we were walking to the dance room at my high school open house, and we walked past the cafeteria that had a fencing demonstration going on. And it's funny because we could have been on a different floor, we could have walked down a different hallway, but as God would have it, that's exactly where we were meant to be. My mother and my high school coach got to chatting, as mothers do, and my high school coach very quickly convinced me that fencing would provide unimaginable opportunities. Well, Ms. Lawrence, I'd have to say you were right. The second moment was during my first national competition, the summer before senior year. Side note, I don't know whose idea it was to bring thousands of high schoolers to Miami, but we had a blast. I actually killed it during that competition, and things were so dramatic that I ended up throwing my hoop earrings to the side of the strip, looked up, and I saw Coach Frank looking back at me. And it was that competition where a lot of my fencing mentors convinced me that Temple University would be a great place to jumpstart my career, and that Coach Frank would know exactly what I needed to grow as a person. So anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love Temple University. I bleed cherry and white, and when I got on this campus, I was never ashamed of being the smart black girl because I very quickly found a circle of friends who were very similar to me. I was never ashamed of being from a normal middle-class family because, again, my friends were all the same. And my Temple fencing family really planted seeds that helped build a foundation of confidence that helped me even to this day. And we absolutely can't forget about the Nikki Frank sayings. That is the first time I've ever called her by her first name, by the way. It feels great. It's funny because when I was interviewing for residency, I got the same question in every interview. What did you learn from fencing that you were going to carry on with you into medicine? And every athlete, all you guys here know exactly what you learned when you're practicing McGonagall, that those lessons never leave you. So the first thing that Coach Frank would always say is focus on being a student athlete. Heavy emphasis on the student part. Get your work done, stay very disciplined, and make sure you succeed in your long-term goals. The second thing was leave all your problems at the door. When you walk into practice, you need to be present, you need to focus, and then you can pick them back up when you leave. And if there's ever a time you need to be able to compartmentalize your life and focus on the task at hand, it's definitely when you walk into an operating room and you're about to cut somebody open. So thank you for that, Coach Frank. And then the last thing, and the most famous for all the girls on the team, was kiss, kiss, that she would yell when you're in the middle of a very intense bout, which means keep it simple, stupid. Focus on what you can do. You know that you can crush it. Don't overcomplicate things, and just do the task at hand. I truly don't think the day that we walked into the cafeteria or when I was fencing on that far strip that any of us had this, all of this, planned for my future. And Temple is such a unique place with endless opportunities where you can be a girl from Teaneck High School with really big dreams and well-placed guardian angels and get a banner on Broad Street or be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I want to thank my family, my friends, my lifelong coaches who are still here today, and you guys are never leaving, for your support during the years. You guys have always been there. You know what you've done. You guys are simply amazing. And you know how we are in our community when one person wins, one person has an accomplishment, it's an accomplishment for the whole squad. I want to thank the Temple Athletic Department. Obviously, you guys, this is the craziest honor, and I'm still very speechless, even though I'm giving a speech. And to the inductees, just hearing your stories and knowing where you guys coming from, knowing that we're going to be listed somewhere forever in history, it's an honor to be next to you guys. So myself and along with the rest of the inductees, we are #TempleMade. We love Temple. We are cherry and white, and go Owls.
Thank you, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our night. Another cross-section of athletes from Temple past, whether it's baseball or basketball or bowling and football, fencing, gymnastics, lacrosse, field hockey. We've seen it all, heard it all tonight, and it makes us better, that we can hear them share what Temple University meant in the formation of their careers post-athletics, post-performances. And you've all done Temple well. Thank you very much. How about a round of applause for our class of 2023 to the Temple Athletics Hall of Fame. And with that, all I can say is, go Owls!